What is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today we're going over patch 10.8 quickly before the patch is actually dropping today. It might already be out. It might be out in a couple minutes, depending on if the servers are up. I really have no idea ever how long the servers take. Sometimes it takes 2 seconds. Sometimes it takes 2 hours. So I have no idea. I assume it'll take a little bit longer because this is a big patch update. But we're going to go over it, talk about what's viable, what's not viable, what's a good change, bad change, what should you try, stuff like that. So patch 10.8, Avatar update notes. We got Toph and Fire Nation Toph, Avatar Roku Yu Wong, literally perfect for him. Fungal Fury Dancerborough, probably top 10 skin in the game because the mushroom on his gun actually humps the entire time. Putting Nightmare Agni Kuskin, I'm not going to use it, but it's cool. Starting with the Soul Surges being removed, I'm pretty sure this means Soul Surges are completely gone. The minions, the circles, everything completely gone with it. I thought it was a cool idea, but those spirit minions were so annoying stopping backs. They spawned like quickly. If you didn't like instantly get the win and then instantly reset or sprint away from that spot, you're just going to get your back stopped permanently. Also, the extra gold, extra XP, I didn't love. Everything kind of about this I didn't like, but that's okay. You're not going to like everything. Next thing, the Stygian Beacon cooldown is decreased from 6 to 5. So it spawns at 12, and then it'll respawn at least 17, however long it takes you to confirm it. We'll say 17:30, and then it spawns at 22:30. So it's just a minute less. The Titan stat changes are also getting slightly tankier. Base health is up 500, base Fizz prots up 10, base magical prots up 10, base power up 25, kill XP up 10, and then kill gold up 20. Really, really big thing right here. EFG was actually getting twice the intended amount of increased stats. So if FG was 50 stats of each, or 50 protections of each, EFG would be increased, we'll say 40. Instead of going up to 90, it was actually doubling down and making it go up to 130. I don't know the exact stat upgrade it got, but it's crazy how tanky it made EFG. And this was combined with power being reduced in the previous patch. Also, it made EFG nearly impossible to do. Very good change. EFG will now feel a lot more killable at all points in the game. Slight touch on Joust, just because I know some of you guys do enjoy it. Starters are actually back. The only thing that's changing is all the support upgrades are not going to be back, and Emperor's Armor will be banned. Now getting into the good stuff, starter items are getting buffed, a couple of them actually. Lono's Mask is going down to 225 overall prots required for the item. Pretty big, insane change for Lono's Mask. This is probably helping the mages slightly more than the assassins. I've never loved Mask on the assassins because it makes them just late game tanks instead of what they want to be, which is early game damage that scale into late game tanks, because Lono's makes them take less damage early but also do less damage early, which I never like. But this does help Hell, it does help Afro, it does help ESET, it helps all the mage supports. And if there's any hunter supports that you're playing that you'd want to be building Lono's Mask on, I don't think there is, or any other mages that I may be forgetting, this Lono's Mask buff is huge for tank support mages. Spartan Flag is getting an extra 2 gold per 5, changes nothing. Also getting 10 attack speed, changes nothing. I made a video about Spartan Flag and what makes it so bad and what I would do to fix it. A lot of problems with it, and giving it 10 attack speed doesn't fix it. Does help a tiny bit, but doesn't fix it. A couple basic attack tank items. Berserker's going down 100 gold and up in 10% on the health threshold, where they get attack speed and mitigation. And then Shogun's is getting 50 health and 5 magical protections. Honestly, this buff is really good for supports. This is pretty whatever. I think physical solo laner auto attack gods, I don't know why I specified physical, but solo lane attack gods, auto attack gods are so weak that I don't think these buffs do enough, but it is a good start. So underutilized healing items. Rejuve Heart is getting buffed into a spot where it's still absolutely terrible. Sekhmet Scepter though, I honestly really like this buff. I think Sekhmet Scepter is going to be viable on almost any god that can heal and then spam abilities and then heal and spam abilities. Naja, Guan, maybe. I'd have to go through all the gods to be like, oh, I got to try it on this one, this one, this one. But Naja is someone I really want to try this on, especially in support. Guan, Horus are another couple that I really want to try this with. So we'll have to see how that feels, but I think this is a really nice buff. This one's pretty terrible. Some physical ability damage items are getting buffed. Brawler's down 100 gold. Heartseeker Threshold is now only 250, which is very nice. And then the Crusher is going down 100 gold and up 5% attack speed. Overall, just a nice buff to auto attack or ability-based assassins and ability-based hunters. No downside to this. I think these are nice buffs that were needed. I will say, though, this combined with, a lot of you guys know, no Marty nerfs means Marty's just an even better character than he was before. So a little upsetting that Marty's just not getting absolutely neutered. But, you know, sometimes you got to put up with pain in the ass, and Marty's a pain in the ass. Mage item buffs, Bancroft's up 10 power, and then also you get 70 power from the passive, so instead of 140, this is 150. Do I think this changes much? Not really. Nice buff, though. This is a really big buff right here, because I think one of the best builds in the game currently is the tablet build with a breastplate, and I think this all but makes that build even better. I think tablet is just a really net negative item for the game. I think it is not good. I don't think it's healthy. I think the idea of an item that stacks off of hitting enemies with abilities is cool, but true damage and true damage based off of mana, and then there's a mana increase item, they combo together and being a really unhealthy style to play the game. You just go like a pendulum into book, into tablet, into breastplate, into e-staff, and he has now multiple different ways to get true damage, and then he's also going to be tanky, so you can't build anything to mitigate it except mitigation, and mitigation is capped now. So I'm not a fan of it, and I don't think book is the problem. Tablet is the problem, but this just helps tablet even more. And then Rod is actually getting 10 power. This is really big. I think personally mages were slightly short on power. Another 10 power on Rod is going to be very nice. It just makes you feel better, so I like this change. And probably one of the biggest changes in the entire patch, at least in my support opinion, Shackles is going down to 13 seconds, and Bolster Defenses is going up to 30% CC reduction at all points. And somebody pointed this out. I don't remember where I saw it, but Guardians get 20% CCR just built in, so ARES is going to be overcapping on CCR just from having his 2 active, and then he's going to be giving 30% CCR to teammates. Bolster Defenses is insane. This used to be an item you had, or an ability you want to put points into to get the value from the CCR. Now you don't need to. Now you max out your 1, you max out your 3, then you can go back to max out your 2 and then max out your ult. Makes him even more annoying to play against and more powerful. Pretty big RDO buffs. I didn't think these were that noticeable. I think 10 damage on Maul Prey, 10 damage on Energy Surge, and then the passive protection debuff is going to be easier to reach the cap of. I think this makes her slightly better, but do I think it changes her that much? Not really. I think she's still going to get bullied by a lot of gods and not bully a lot of gods, and that's her niche, is going to be bullying that solo lane because she doesn't scale well. I don't think this helps her too much, but I could be wrong. A Willix, Moonlight Charge is getting an extra 10% scaling. Gravity Surge is getting 50 attack speed at level 1. Gravity Surge combined with Wing Shard is going to be giving you 90% attack speed at level 5. Absolutely crazy. But this is a nice buff. I think a Willix should use it. She's really cool to play against. She's really fun. She's not frustrating like Daji or Kamazots where you can't hit them back. She's a very skill-reliant god, so I'm always down for a Willix being in meta over a lot of other assassins. Chalk buff. Rain Dance goes down 1 second. Torrent goes like slightly shifted, but it's a buff. You still reach 100, but now you only need 4 things to hit with Torrent to get to the 100 protections. I think this is the bigger thing. Just 1 second off Rain Dance allows him to heal a little bit more in laning phase. Torrent just makes this so you can hit just the 3 front minions with the enemy god, and you get the full protection buff instead of having to get an extra minion on top of those 4, the 3 minions and then the enemy god. So nice little buff to Chalk. Do I think it changes much? Not really. Pretty big Gilg buff, going up 0.5% of his max health per hit on his 1, and then Hero's Advance is getting 10 base damage. Gilg is always going to be a character that's just on the edge of being really OP and then really terrible. He's either going to be strong or really weak, and right now he's really weak. This probably doesn't put him over the edge, but it does help him, push him a little bit closer. I think with also the buff to Berserker and Shoguns, maybe it helps him a lot. We'll see. Lancelot, probably one of my least favorite characters in the entire game. The mount up time it takes for your shield to become full is now 3 seconds instead of 4, and then Crashing Dive is also getting 10% scaling. Nice little buff to Lance. Medusa Acid Spray. A very, very strong change right here to how Medusa plays. The most annoying thing with Medusa is you cannot clear archers with her 2 unless you had Bluestone. I think with 5% scaling and 10% base damage, it pushes her Acid Spray just enough where she doesn't need to go Bluestone anymore, and she can actually clear those archers. If that's true, huge buff. If it's not true, doesn't change anything. And then Petrify is also going down only 15% if you're not stunning them instead of 25%. Nice little buff to Petrify. Very strong, very high damage. Nice little change to Medusa. Neath, Spirit Arrow is going to start getting scaling down, cooldown from 13 down to 11, and then Unravel is going from 14 down to 12. This ability was listed as a 15-second cooldown, but has been at 14 seconds. Crazy. Neath is a cooldown god where she builds a lot of cooldown, so having her ability scaled down means she's just going to be more poke and more harassy if she does get a lead, so I think these are pretty good changes for Neath. Nuwa changes. The speed the fog moves now levels up as you put points into it, and the clay soldiers, which is the bigger part, you get 2 soldiers now at rank 1 instead of 1. This does hurt her clear with Mysterious Fog a little bit, but you should never, ever, ever be putting points into her 1 over her 2 and her 3. So this is just going to be staying at 300 when you have 1 point into it. And then in the late game, you're going to be getting more points into it. Where you're going to be able to make use of that movement speed to sit inside the fog as it's moving. Very good change. I like this. If you're a person who for some reason maxes Mysterious Fog, this is going to be bad because it's no longer going to clear as well. But I don't think this is really a clear ability much anyway. Last buff is Wong. Decreased time to game stacks from 8 to 6 seconds. Stacks gained from hitting an enemy god outside of combat are increased from 1 to 2. Nice change to make his Dow more manageable. And then Celestial Fight is also getting a slight cooldown scaling reduction from 20 at all ranks to 20 scaling down to 18. Nice little buffs to Wong. Avatar Roku's coming out, and you know Avatar Roku isn't dog, so you gotta buff him a little bit. Lastly, Robin shifts. The reason this is a shift is because this just reverts Robin back to before his buffs. The problem with Robin is Robin was never really tested in a spot before they changed how the power patch where all power was nerfed. Robin is going to be a strong character because power is nerfed and you can't really one-shot Robin anymore. So he's just going to be able to slowly keep that shield up, sustain up with this 3. This puts him to a point where he's still going to be very strong because I think this doesn't really change anything. And this extra damage on his 1 is going to make him a little bit more actually able to bully you in the laning phase. He just doesn't scale as well into the late game because Chain of Blows is going to nerf his health down by 3%. And the 20 damage is going to be mitigated a lot of the time just by protection. So this is going to make Robin, I think, the exact same god. I don't think it's going to change anything. I think this character walks the line of assassin and warrior way too easily. And he's either going to be an OP assassin or an OP warrior because he has just the best of both worlds. And I think he plays both roles really well right now. And he's very annoying, very frustrating to play against. Nerfs. Karon is getting max health shield on damnation down from 3% to 2.5%. I guess he's dominating in these early games. I didn't think he needed a nerf. I thought he was in a really balanced spot. I also never really saw people getting damnation fully stacked a lot of the time. It was just maybe 1 or 2 hits. But I do think he is in a spot where he's balanced, and I think this doesn't really change anything because I think it's just his base kit's just it's really healthy. Izonami is losing penetration per stack on her passive from 4 to 3%. Does it change anything? No. It's probably just a small nerf to her in a casual setting. The problem with ADCs is you want to almost always be at full health. If you're getting down low, you're making use of the penetration, but you're also easier to get killed. Mercury is losing scaling on special delivery. The reason he's nerfed is because he's got a 54% win rate right now across the entire ranked conquest scene, and that's why he's getting nerfed here. I don't understand why this is the nerf they went for, but he did get a nerf. Wukong, remove him. He loses 0.5 power gained per level. Does nothing. The Monkey King is still going to be running your games, and he's still busted, and he's really easy to play. Susano getting a nerf. Losing 15% scaling, 5% on Wind Siphon, 10% on Typhoon. It is a nice change because I think Susano does a little bit too much damage for how much CC he actually has and how much team fight potential he actually has. So I like this change. Lastly, Zhongqi is losing 12 protections at full stacks. So no longer is at 60, it's going to be 48. I didn't think Zhong was a problem. I didn't hear of anybody complaining about Zhong being OP, but maybe he just runs casual games or low-level rank games because people don't build penetration. I'll never really know. I don't know why, but that's what happened. Lastly, some non-conquest changes. If you guys are interested in these affect every game mode except conquest. Look at it if you want. I don't care because this is non-conquest, and we only care about conquest here. Just kidding. I love all game modes the same. But there it is, the patch notes. Biggest things, I think a lot of the god changes don't do too much except ARES and maybe Medusa. ARES, Medusa are 2 gods I'd really want to try. Maybe a Willix with this change also. Also in mid lane, I think the build is going to be Sands, Book, Tablet, Breastplate, E-Staff, and then whatever item you want last. I think that build is going to be absolutely cooking. Tablet's busted. Being able to build tank is busted. That's probably what's going to be. Marty is still going to be one of the best characters in the game. Try Sekhmet Scepter on gods that have heals. That's about it. Not too many huge changes. A lot of just small shifts. I know a lot of stuff is being put in at 10.9. So I hope you guys enjoy this patch. I hope you guys have a wonderful first day. See you guys again next time. Peace.